Hello, everybody. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I greet you in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ. Yesterday night, I followed Yoruba Gidi's channel while he was premiering his visit to the house of the witch doctor that Pastor Femi, the former MFM pastor, alleged that he met the CSO of Mountain of Fire in his house as a customer to the witch doctor. He came there to make shams. When I was watching that video, I really followed and listened to everything that the young man said. Now, first and foremost, I want to reiterate what I said in the first video that I made. I never wanted to get involved in these things because I know people emotions will be so high and one will be misunderstood. Now, for a very long time, I would have stopped this thing I'm doing, but the love and the urge I have for it to continue doing it would not let me. And because by the grace of God, I believe I'm doing what God wants me to do. So somehow, sometimes when the attacks comes like this, you can imagine somebody calling me on my phone just to tell me that they don't know how much I was paid to have made the video that I made. And in that video, I said it, at least more than once, that I know some persons would even say that I was neither here nor there, but I was accused of being an MFM pro, and there was no place I said those men never suffered what they suffered. I never said they were not accused wrongly or that they were accused wrongly. All I was saying is that a matter like this, comes up, we'll be very, very, careful about it. And I know I made a statement about persons leaving church and somehow bitterness. Maybe it was misunderstood and misconstrued as if I was telling those guys that they were bitter. I was doing a closing, summary of what I was saying, and it was understood that way. Anyway, it is okay. I feel very hurt. I feel very, very hurt, but I know God will take care of my emotions. But this is too much. It's too much. To read those things in the comment area is fine, but for someone to call me, to call me like that, how much will anybody even pay me? People say everybody has a price. I don't even know how much anybody can pay me for me to sell my conscience and gloat on other people's pain just because I was trying to be neutral. In a case and matter that I've not even come in contact with the persons, I've not even felt their pulse. Somebody wants me to stake my head and stake my integrity and take sides. I don't do like that, and I cannot do that. But that is it anyway. It is fine. So having watched that premiere yesterday and the details that the son of the witch doctor gave himself also has actually translated to, he took over from his father, and unfortunately he told the crew there that he started worshiping with the MFM, and eventually the departure of Pastor Femi made him to return to his father's trading stock. But that is not what I'm talking about here. What I want to say in this video may, as well as usual, infuriate some persons. I was telling you that some persons called me to ask me how much I was paid for making this video, and strange enough, under the same video, somebody just typed an advice. So you begin to wonder what actually would one do. But serving Christ in sincerity is not easy. I will continue to do what I'm doing. God will help me to maintain my sanity. Somebody said, "End time, you better be careful with what you are presenting before the Lord comes for you." I am not a member of MFM. You guys should be careful. Not so much is happening in the church of the Lord, but remember, the devil is out for the church. Witches are wearing police uniforms, and the devil is using them to attack and destroy the body. To be sincere with you, I was surprised. I cannot tell which side of the divide now, because I never attacked anybody in the video, and I never spoke for anybody in the video. Only that I understand. I've been doing this thing for some time, And I got to know that the backlash is always like this because people will always be emotional. And some persons won't even watch the video and they will conclude. Now, but the other, persons who called me to ask how much I was paid, they said they watched it from the beginning to the end. So I can understand. Now, but my concern is not for how anybody feels. And at least I know my conscience is clear, and I never made any video to demonize anybody, not the victims or the alleged victims, nor the pastor or the pastors in MFM. I was only interested in people proving their stories. The MFM lawyer said they have evidence to back up whatever claim that they are making, and this other camp are claiming that they are lying. So that is just where it is. But now this the video of the Yoruba Gidi crew, and I must also commend them for traveling that far to actually fetch what they wanted and to get that interview from the man. It is risky, and they took the risk to do that. So that is okay. That is good. Now, all I'm saying here is that the dignity of the church is at stake. The church is at stake. I know that many of you don't believe in what we call church today, but I still believe in the church system. I still believe in the gathering of the saints. I still believe that it is the will of God that there should be some places of gathering, irrespective of the fact that there have been abuse, an injury inflicted on what we have to do as church. But I understand that the church is not the crowd. The church is not the house, it's not the building, but there is the necessity to gather together. There are some persons that their survival of the world system is in their mixing up with their fellow brethren. And that is why the Bible encourages that we do not forsake the assemblings of ourselves together. So I still believe in the church system. And when an allegation as this, comes up, it becomes the responsibility of the accused to clear his name. The man, Michael Badamosi, I think that is his name, the former CSO of the church, who claimed in a video that he doesn't even know where Ogbomosho is, that he has never visited that place in his life. Now it is his responsibility now to clear his name, and by extension, clear the stain that this is, bringing on the church. MFM is not just the church. MFM is just part of the church, and this is going to affect the church, by extension, not just the church MFM. This is going to affect the fate of so many people, both in MFM, and outside the MFM. So, apart from the conference that they staged, where the man denied having ever traveled to Ogbomoso.
I was not the one who arrested him. It's the police that arrested him. And he said he saw Michael CSO in Ogbomoso, in Abali's house. I know Ogbomoso is in Nigeria, but Michael Lawale, I've never been to Ogbomoso.
And there should be more to do in order to prove that this is a lie. Number one is that the man, the herbalist there, claimed repeatedly that Michael, being his father's customer for many years, that was not just the first time. And you see,
Pastor Femi dáadáa.
Báwo la ṣe jẹ́ sí yín?
Ó jẹ́ pastor ní ṣọ́ọ̀ṣì nísàlẹ̀ general.
Pastor ní ṣọ́ọ̀ṣì nísàlẹ̀ general.
General bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ní ṣọ́ọ̀ṣì ń wà.
Nílùú Ògbómọ̀ṣọ́ ń bí.
Nílùú Ògbómọ̀ṣọ́ ń bí. Èmi jẹ́ káfíńtà. Àmọ́ Mùsùlùmí wà o. Kristẹni wà. Ẹlẹ́sìn àbáláyé wà. Ẹlẹ́sìn àbáláyé ń bàbá mi. Babaláwo ni bàbá mi. Kò ní iṣẹ́ méjì tó bójú lé ju babaláwo ni. Àmọ́ káfíńtà lèmi ń ṣe.
Inú ilé bàbá yín náà sì la wà yìí.
Inú ilé bàbá mi lẹ́wà yìí. Ẹ ṣeun olóòtú, mo dúpẹ́ lọ́wọ́ yín. Wọ́n ní ẹni ó bá béèrè ọ̀rọ̀ ló fẹ́ di ẹ̀ gbọ́. Sí èmi o, Oríyọmí àmọ́ o, èèyàn dáadáa ni Pastor Fẹ́mi lọ́dọ̀ tèmi. Ìdí ni pé bí bàbá mi bá wà láyé ni, kìí ṣègbà tó yí bàbá mi yìí ó kú ló kú. Torí Pastor Fẹ́mi ń jẹ́ nìkan tó ra ẹ̀mí bàbá mi padà. Nígbà bàbá mi ń ṣàìsàn. Pastor Fẹ́mi yìí fún mi lówó pé kí n bá wọn kàga sí ṣọ́ọ̀ṣì nísàlẹ̀ general. wọ́n sì fún mi lówó tí wọ́n fi kan páànù.
ok.
àmọ́ sámọ̀sámọ̀ dédé àsìkò tó yẹ ń lọ ṣiṣẹ́ wọn sí ẹni bàbá mi dùbúlẹ̀ àìsàn. ṣàdédé wọ́n ní bí ọjọ́ kẹrin ọ̀sẹ̀ bí ọjọ́ Thursday ni mo rí pásítọ̀ Fẹ́mi àtàwọn ọmọ ìjọ mẹ́ta wọ́n gbéra wọn lẹ́yìn wọ́n wá bá mi nínú ilé láti wá sẹ̀mí ní gbèsè iṣẹ́ tí wọ́n gbé fún mi. ṣùgbọ́n gbà wọn ó dé wọn bá bàbá mi ò gbádùn wọ́n jẹ́ kó yé wọn pé bàbá mi ò gbádùn mi ò jẹ́ wọn á lọ ṣiṣẹ́ tí ó yẹ kí n lọ bá wọn ṣe. àwọn wá jókòó tí ẹ jókòó ni báwọn fẹ́ yọjú sí bàbá mi àwọn fẹ́ kí i láti jáde rọ̀ mi bóyá bàbá mi gbádùn àbí ò gbádùn. wọ́n wá ń ṣàlàyé fún ọ lọ́jọ́ pé bàbá mi lálejò nínú ilé. bàbá tẹ̀ ní ọ̀gbádùn gbóló ti rálejò tó ní wọn lálejò ń bẹ lọ́dọ̀ bàbá mi. ẹ̀yin lẹ́yìn wò pé mi ń ṣe káfíńtà iṣẹ́ babaláwo bàbá mi ń ṣe.
kí ló kọ́.
àmọ́ sámọ̀sámọ̀ pásítọ̀ Fẹ́mi jókòó láti yọjú sí bàbá mi bálejò bá kú lọ́dọ̀ wọn. ìgbà tí pásítọ̀ Fẹ́mi ó jókòó èmi wọn náà la yọjú kó ń ta. àlejò wá kú lọ́dọ̀ bàbá mi ń lọ. mo wá rí pàlejò tó jáde lọ́dọ̀ bàbá mi. ojúbà bàbá mi sì ni òun àti bàbá mi ti wà tipẹ́. ní máa ọkùnrin tí ń jẹ́ Michael Gbàdámọ́sí.
ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ bá rí onítọ̀hún ní ìsìn iṣẹ́ dàmọ́.
àwọn náà mọ̀ mí.
títí dòní bó bá rí yóò mọ̀ yín.
ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nǹkan tí ń ṣe lọ́dọ̀ bàbá mi ò kéré. ó láwọn àgbà kan tó ní òun lọ́gàá kan wájú tí bàbá mi bá sáyé ta.
ọ̀gá.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ó lóun lọ́gàá kan wájú tó máa tẹ̀lé òun ò sì fẹ́ kí bàbá mi lọ sáyé ta fún gbà. gbà bàbá mi bá sáyé ta wọ́n bá ṣàfòràn wọ́n sì bá sí ọwọ́.
oògùn ọwọ́.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ǹjẹ́ ó yé mi ń gbẹ́njọ́ yé bàbá mi ní gbàǹgbà yé bàbá mi pé òun fẹ́ oògùn tí àwọn ọmọ ìjọ òun ò fi pọ̀. bàbá mi náà lọ bá sáwọ́rù gbà.
ṣé Gbàdámọ́sí náà ní chọ́ọ̀chì ni àbí ọ̀gá ẹ̀ ló.
ó lóun tẹ̀ lọ́gàá kan.
ok.
ó lóun tẹ̀ lọ́gàá kan.
ok.
n tó sọ nígbà náà ó lóun tẹ̀ lọ́gàá kan ló wí lóun ò sì fẹ́ kí bàbá òun pé àti pé gbogbo àwọn táwọn wò pé gẹ́gẹ́ bí olùṣọ́ àgùntàn ó níbi òǹkàlùkù fara sí òun ó sì ṣẹ̀ṣẹ̀ súnmọ́ bàbá mi ó ti wà pẹ̀lú bàbá mi tipẹ́. sámọ̀sámọ̀ ǹgbà tí àlejò kú lọ́dọ̀ bàbá mi ti ń jáde lọ mo sáré pé pásítọ̀ Fẹ́mi bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí í wo àlejò náà ń wò wọ́n àmọ́ kò yé mi. àlejò ń wo pásítọ̀ Fẹ́mi náà ń wo àlejò lédè kan. pásítọ̀ Fẹ́mi dìde wọ́n lọ kí bàbá mi náà kí wọn. àwọn ni wọ́n fún mi lówó tí mo fi gbé bàbá mi lọ síbítù. pásítọ̀ Fẹ́mi ló fún mi.
Initially, because of the condition of where I was when I was watching and listening to this video, I missed out on some parts. So, having reviewed the video again, now I understood perfectly what the video, what was contained in the video. So there was enough evidence. There was enough claim in the video to suggest that the man you listened to in that video knew what he was saying, but still is under alleged. All right. Let me, for the benefit of those of you who probably would not watch it because it was done in Yoruba language. Now, number one is that from the documents that the guy showed, it showed that this son of the native doctor was in the court as one of the witnesses for Pastor Femi, and he witnessed that the Michael Gbàdámọ́sí happened to be one of his father's customers. And how this came to be was that Pastor Femi gave him some carpentry work to do, think roofing of church, and he has given him money. And they waited for him to come and start and finish the work. They didn't see him. Now, ostensibly because his father accidentally became ill. So Femi and 3 other persons, 2 men and a female, came to the house in order to get him to refund them the money. So on that very day they came, they met him, and he explained to them that his father was ill. That was the reason why he has not come to finish the job. And so Pastor Femi decided, okay, that if that was the case, he wanted to see his father, one, to confirm that he was sick, and again, at least to tell him sorry. So, but then while he wanted to go in, he was informed that there was a client that was with the father, and Femi was like, he was sick. How then was he able at the same time to attend to a client? So they gave him a bench to sit down and wait for the client to come out. So Femi was seated. The interviewer asked him to take him to where Femi was seated that day, and he took him to where they placed a bench for Femi to sit. So Femi was seated, and to his surprise, when the person who was being attended to by the witch doctor would come out, the person he saw was one of his ogas, one of his leaders in the MFM church. This, is still alleged. And so the two of them were looking at themselves. Maybe the Michael was like, oh, you two, here and you have seen me, you know my secret. And Femi too was shocked. So at the end of the day, Femi asked this son of the herbalist, as at then, who was that bad? And he said he told him that person was his father's customer. And he claimed that all the incision that the Michael, had on his body, that he, the son of the herbalist, was the one that did the incision. Because of old age, the man's, his father's hand might not be very direct and straight. So to avoid a kind of fidgeting and injuring the person and missing the mark, so he, who is still young, whose hand was still very steady, was the one saddled with the responsibility of doing the incisions on the man's body. So part of the charms that was done for the man was that he told according to the story, so I'm just relating it, he told the herbalist, the witch doctor, that he was serving and protecting a certain boss, and as his guard, or because he's following the boss, that he wouldn't want bullet to touch him and kill him. So he came for charms against bullet injuries. So the one they call bulletproof, the local one, bulletproof, and other ones. And that there was the time he came and he made charm also for the growth of the church. Now that's one now is tentative because he was not the pastor of the church, and I don't think he was in charge of any branch, but he was just there as a security officer, one of the workers in the church. So why would he now be asking for charm that will grow the church? Now, in saying all these things, people who will be offended still. I also have to be very, very careful. Now, somebody can also be manipulated to say some things, adding things up, exaggerate things. And at the same time, I'm not saying that did not happen. But who was he trying to acquire the charms for? Was it for the general overseer of the MFM? Now, as a human being, if you ask me, I would say I don't think that is true. But at the same time, it is not unlikely that things like that happen. Listen, somehow now, while I get the frustration, but then it is when people are not thinking well, that is why they want you to take a side of something you cannot even prove. I know so many people who take a stand, very tough stands on this matter. If they are in Nigeria here, they cannot do 1/10 of what I'm doing. I know that so much. I just told you somebody staged, a plot to kidnap me. Some of you who are ranting and you talk tough, you can say it just because you are not in the church of this country. It's not as if I don't know that human being, the depravity of man is high. But I cannot assent to something that if I'm challenged to prove it, I will fail to produce tangible, not even whether it is even intangible. How do you want me to come and sit over a matter that I didn't even know where it starts? You see, a very darling sister here told me her experience. That was when she was younger. I think now she should be in her late 50s or early 60s. Now, the man she called her spiritual father, the man that brought her up, under her nose, the man was sleeping with so many girls, but she never knew. She was not touched because of her foundation. Her father was a tough man and rich. So they knew that if such thing ever happened to her, that would be the last straw that would have broken the camel's back. But other girls that she was staying with in the same house were being, tossed about by her so-called spiritual father in the Lord, and his friends. And when the thing became a gossip, she almost staked her life for it. She almost staked her life for it to defend the man. Even when a closer person to the man, accepted it, it was like, you're not serious of a thing. But eventually she got to know that the thing, what people were saying, want to be true. So by that, I cannot defend any man. I can't defend any man and stick out my neck and say, this man, because he's a pastor, could not have done this. This woman, because she's a pastor's wife, could not have done this. God forbid, I cannot. But at the same time, I am also going to be very careful because I know that humans were very crooked and rugged. I also have seen where a man, has been roped into something he never knew anything about. So the only time I can sit with authority and talk about things like this, apart from the misbehaviors that we witness, we see them, you don't need anybody. You see them do it, they say it with their mouth. Now, things as sensitive as what, is being alleged, together with the other areas of dirtiness and the infidelity and what have you. Oh no, those are not things that you just want me to bring out my chest. You have your family, all right? You have your children and your wife, and you are living overseas. You want me to come and put my life on the line as a foolish person. Now, because God even will be looking at me as, you are very foolish. Did I send you that? I can only say things. The Bible says that we see in part, we prophesy in part. So that part that is I'm privileged to know, the ones that I will talk about, the other ones will be left. That they say that it is a burden for the one who is alleging to prove his allegation. But on this matter, I think the burden now is on MFM proof that the man and the incident that is said to be the beginning of this matter, they should be able to prove it that these people are lying. All right, that it is not true that happened. So now, while I tell you this story, I want to tell you an incident that happened in one of the big churches. I won't mention names, but the church is very close to you in this video and around you on YouTube. Now, it was said that the general overseer of the church in one of the pastors' conference, the hall was filled and all the pastors, junior and senior pastors, were in attendance. And so it came to a point where the general overseer ordered that the doors to the hall be locked, and the doors were locked. And he himself removed his shirt, he removed his clothes, pulled his shirt, pulled his singlet, pulled his trouser, left with his boxers alone. And he commanded that every pastor that was in attendance should do so. Of course, pastors now, women were not in the meeting. So some, immediately did so, and others reluctantly did. Now, what was found out was terrible. So many of them were wearing shams, including the word they call bante and what have you, wristband, all kinds of shams and incisions on their body. Now, it was said that the general overseer offered himself, he submitted himself to be also scrutinized, and nothing was found on him. All right. Now, why I'm saying this is that it is possible for somebody to say, that the man who has risen to the level of chief security officer in the church like Mountain of Fire could not have gone for diabolical protection. It's possible for anybody to believe that or to say that. But it is also possible for you to think otherwise, that it's not everybody in leadership in church that is a Christian, that is born again, that is part of the system. By this, I'm not saying that Michael Badamosi truly went to the place. But the man has put up an allegation that will take the man himself, Michael Badamosi himself, to prove that this is not true. Now, you see, there were steps that the man took, the interviewer took, in showing the guy, the Babalawo, some persons in the video, and was asking him to pick the Michael whenever he saw the Michael. And the first person that came out was the MFM lawyer. The other person was the OPC member. the OPC member again. And then Michael came out, the man himself picked him that this is, the Michael Badamosi. So we need to, like I said in the first video that I made, this calls for carefulness. And I wish that CAN and PFN, I think that this is the time, I wish that they would rise and hold anybody responsible. Unfortunately, the Christian Association of Nigeria or Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, these two bodies are not very strong. So their members are just there, just to be there. There is no punitive measure that can be meted out to any erring member that has the backing of any stipulated law. It doesn't have that power to compel any of her members to submit himself or herself for a thorough investigation. And the reason is that a lot of the membership, which is the church, now have so much money. There are so many allegations here, but I will never get involved because, number one, I'm not there. I was not there. And all that we judge are the things that we see, people bring out. So the question here is, are the things that the man stated in the video, are they true? I won't be so fast to say no, they are not true. And at the same time, I cannot tell you, yeah, they are true. But the thing is that the question mark has been cast. There is something hanging on the shoulders of a man to prove that his hands are clean. Now, because it is established, or it is alleged, that singular visit of Femi to that man's house in order to find out why the herbalist son has not come to do his job, and the alleged visitation of Michael to the witch doctor to come and collect sham, that happened to be the genesis of all this problem. Now, because Michael now began to find a way to silence Femi, so it was alleged. So, which means that the one who orchestrated this thing, according to the story, is that Mr. Michael Badamosi. So now what we have to, I think that is Michael, yes. What we have to do is, or what the man has to do, is to actually prove that those things are lies. I asked myself a question. I'm like, would the Mountain of Fire General Overseer really want to kill these people, these poor men? For what reason? I asked that question, and even the person who called me that alleged I was paid, I also asked him the question. Now, that question may sound very stupid, but it is true. They are not at the same level. They are not dragging anything. But if this thing is not trashed, now the narrative will point to the fact that, okay, Femi has seen a very close person to the GO fraternizing with and patronizing a witch doctor. He comes to obtain charms. And if that is the case, now it will be linked to the general overseer of Mountain of Fire, Miracle Ministries. Now, if that is a linkage, and this man has seen this, it means that their secret is no longer covered. And if it is no longer covered, there must be a way to silence them. There must be a way to keep these things secret. Now, this will be the narrative. And this is why it becomes very obvious that somebody who says he's innocent, somebody who says he has not visited Ogumosho before, and that person must do all he can to clear this doubt and help the church, not helping God now. Help the church, help the faith of the younger ones, those who have trusted in the power of God that has been talked about in MFM, so that these things will be trashed. At the same time, I still want to, believe that whatever it is, however, low that the church seems to have come to, the gates of hell will not prevail against the church. There was a video I made and I said some of us around, those of us that will die for our pastors, die for our prophets, die for our apostles and our general overseers, our papas and mamas. Some of them are gatekeepers in hell. You see, some of them are that officials in hell those that the opposition against the church, though they claim to be in the church. Now, there are some members also that are recruited agents that are helping hell to work against the church. But one thing is that Jesus said that the gates of hell shall not prevail against the church, because the church has been founded upon the revelation of the truth of the identity of the Son of God, who purchased the church by the shedding of his blood. And so nothing I do that can quench the light of the church, nothing any pastor does that can quench the light of the church. There is no amount of mudslinging. There is no amount of misbehavior and carelessness. There is no amount of character assassination or victimization of people. There is no amount of fakeness, evil, diabolism that people bring into the church that will harm the church. Just at the same time, there's no amount of blackmailing that will make the will of God for my life to be rubbished. Listen, I've been called so much names, and in the process of doing this thing, actually somebody has staged a plan, a way of kidnapping and harming me. I would have walked into very big, pit that was dug, if not, had it not been for the Holy Spirit. Now,
This is something I've never even discussed with anybody, and saying it out here for the very first time, because discussing it with anybody would amount to some form of advice and counsel for me to stop what I'm doing, and I don't want anybody to get involved and put pressure on me, and that's why it hurts so much to receive the kind of insults. Now, should I call it insult? Anybody can insult me. That is not even a problem. I receive. It is okay. It is normal when I read that in the comment area. Or it is, it's not okay when somebody should call your line and boldly telling you that it's only God that knows how much you received for giving out your own opinion over matters. And not even that you stood out to defend, the person that is alleged to be the principal intimidator, or that you did cast aspersion on the characters of those who are crying out. I probably would have sounded a better person to one side of the people if I had opened my mouth and then I said, Koya is evil. Look, it is true. It is true. I assented to everything that was said, even when I have not even met the people who are crying out. And whatever I said that is in the video has never in any way cast doubt over what these people are saying. I was only saying that one ought to be careful in getting involved in this. These people are crying for what they said have been done unto them, and other camp saying, even though they went through it, something led to it. And I gave a general counsel, which I thought maybe was misconstrued and misunderstood. It was the ending part of my video. I started talking to the church in general. I've seen a lot of videos that didn't just come from, not just from the church we are talking about. I haven't mentioned my own church, but it is well. I believe God has his plans for everybody. I know God has his plans for everybody. And somehow it hurts. And then I know it is not easy to serve Christ sincerely. If I'd ever collected money from anybody doing this thing, you see, it will not hurt me that much. It won't even hurt me because it will amount to somebody saying the truth, saying the obvious. So even if I feel bad, I would console myself with the fact that I've collected fat envelope. But just like I said, what amount of money would I get to demonize a people who are crying that 9 years was taken from them? Now, my only crime that I didn't come out and assent to everything that was said. That's my only crime, that I gave my own opinion. But anyway, I think I've said so much about it. Now, going back to the reasons why I made this video is that I think it's high time Mr. Michael proved himself innocent of this whole allegation, because at the end of the day, he is the principal, wouldn't say suspect, but he is a very big pivotal point from which this whole thing started. Yeah, the whole thing would not, may not, the story may not have gone the way it went if he was not alleged to have been seen in the herbalist house. So since he is claiming that he was not the person there, I think the onus is on him to prove that he was not there. The man who has taken over from the father, the closing remark he gave to the man anchoring the program was to help him tell Michael that his father has died and he has taken over from his father. Any kind of work he wants him to do for him, just like as his father was doing it, he would gladly offer the same service to Michael. To me, he begs for explanation and answer. God bless you. I'll be seeing you in the next video. Till then, shalom.